The meeting will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, but please remain standing for a moment of silence for Sheriff Adrian Anderson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's start with is the Climate Smart Committee here? Oh, there you go, okay. Sure.
No, you gotta press the button.
Huh? There, I figured that one out. Hi, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
I'm here for a lot of reasons tonight. I'm sorry. There's a few reasons I'm here. I think you all got my email. The first thing is the Bicentennial weekend, which was pretty awesome. We got to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are interested in a lot of things, such as composting and the Repair Cafe. Therefore, we are having two events regarding those two. At the library, we will be having Composting 101 on October 19th and November 8th, I think. It's a Monday. We will be having a general information on the Repair Cafe. So, lots of good stuff happened. People filled out our questionnaires. They showed an interest in a lot of things. All right, moving on from that. We'll start with the recycling policy. I don't know protocol, so when I send you guys stuff, it's the right stuff, and I'm doing it correctly. But anyway, the resolution that I gave you basically just is that the town buildings would start recycling. I've purchased bins that can be put next to each garbage pail, and I know it can't be near everyone's desk because of the space limits, but at least in every common area that you'll have a recycling bin and a trash bin. I also wrote a memo that you can tell all the employees that this is going to happen, which is part of the action plan for Climate Smart. You have to let everybody know, you have to pass a resolution, and you have to take pictures. So then I'll be in to put the recycling bins in and take pictures. Other policy that I have is a municipal shade policy. We pretty much have a lot of things already set up in our code. To say that we recognize this and that we're going to do our best to keep in municipality-owned properties that we're going to have shade. So, I mean, right now, even the trees outside by the parking spot count as shade. And did I cover everything? I think so. That's it. That's me. Any questions? No? Great. Bye.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to vote on these at the 20th.
Right.
Okay?
I'll be back.
We have them. We can't vote on them tonight.
Nope,
Because
I know that.
We just got them, so.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You want to make the motion?
Yeah. I just want to make a quick motion to amend the agenda to move the opening of the meeting after the new business items, so you all know what we're talking about, so you can comment on it then. I need a second, though.
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the 2022 budget, and everyone on the board has had a chance, ample time to review the tentative proposed budget. At this time, I'd like to make a motion on the floor to accept the 2022 budget and move it from the tentative to the preliminary budget.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Discussion?
Discussion, okay.
Yeah, I have just two things that I think we should add to it, or maybe consider before we go any further. One is putting money into the budget for newly elected officials to go to the training for newly elected officials, which is it's the
The Association
Association of Towns, thank you
Grants,
very much. Right, and it's a really informative thing. It helps out whoever gets elected to get their feet wet, get understanding of where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, protocols, and I think it's very important that we have that in the budget. The second thing, have we adopted the new zoning fees yet?
No, we have not.
So how is that going to affect our next year's budget? I mean, should we do that first and then get that into this budget?
It's up to the town board whether they want to pass it or not.
Well, I believe we can actually ask them to get us there quicker and add that into our budget, this way we have it on its face. Correct,
just-
Phil? Can that happen soon, quick, anytime soon?
Yeah,
They're finished.
Yeah, they're finished. It's up to us.
So we should actually, I think it's important that we actually get that finished, adopt that, and get that into our budget. This way it can affect immediately.
Just add,
Ask the supervisor.
the only thing that we left was if you wanted to extend the committee to look at the escrow fees, we can do that. But that's not going to hold up.
That's not going to change the budget.
No.
Correct.
No.
So I think that's important at this juncture, that we get those last two pieces in. I think they're very important.
I don't think the fees are going to hold us up from moving the budget forward so we can hold the public hearing on the 20th. So what I'm getting at is, I don't disagree, John, with Rob and Peter to pay Paul and moving budget line items around to get training money in there. But I do think that we turn the budget into the preliminary budget. We could do that after the open hearing, or the public hearing, rather. And, I mean, that's a simple, like, the training money is a simple fix. I don't know,
About the revenue?
yeah, I don't know what that's gonna do to revenue, though.
Well, basically, John, after we hold the public hearing, the town board may make modifications to the preliminary budget that are consistent with law. No additional public hearings are required on the changes made to the preliminary budget after the initial public hearing. So we can change it then.
Okay? If we can change it then, I would just want to get it in now, because
No, we can make the changes then.
that's fine.
Okay?
We can make it then. I think those are two very important things that need to be in there.
Okay, so now I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Copies of the budget will be ready tomorrow
Yeah.
around noontime, just Jen needs some time to make them. So if anyone wants a hard copy of the budget.
By 12 noon.
They'll be ready tomorrow by 12 noon.
Okay, number 2, sale of marijuana.
You selling some? What are you looking at me for?
Well, we got to make a decision.
So we got to,
We got to either, if we don't do anything, we're automatically opt into the program. If we want to opt out, we have to have a public hearing, and we have to have resolutions with our attorney has prepared.
Yep, there's two resolutions.
Two
here.
resolutions. One is for the retail sale, and one is for the lounges. So what I would propose, we have a public hearing, and we could set it tonight. We could do it on the 3rd, November 3rd, on our workshop.
Yeah, I think, so talking to other towns, a lot of other towns, everyone seems to be opting out because the law really isn't finished being written yet, and everyone needs to do work on their own zoning codes prior to this really going into effect. So it's really opting out to kind of shape the laws the way they want to, and then everyone's going to supposedly opt back in, is what I was told.
Do we have that option, and how long? do
Yeah,
we
no,
have
no,
that
once
option
you,
for?
so if we don't do anything or we opt in, we can't go back. If we opt out, we can just rescind the resolution of opting out at any time.
But you can never opt out again.
You can't, yeah, right, once
Right.
once you're in, you can't opt back out.
Right.
So I remember we discussed this, and it was something that there were several things in that law that were in and out. They weren't sure if it was in it or not, how a town can actually control it. And while we all agreed, I believe, that we don't want to miss out on the revenue,
Yep.
at the same time, we didn't want to have it by schools, have
We
it.
have,
Right,
that's
but
what
that's what we would
have
handle
to
in our
make the
zoning, yeah, yeah.
Zoning changes.
All
But
right.
To do that takes some time, so we need, my
So we're
suggestion
opting out
is we opt
temporarily?
Yeah, well, we're opting out, otherwise we're in.
Okay.
Well, I understand we can opt back in at any time, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I was at a town supervisors and mayor's meeting last night. The majority of towns are opting out because of the questions. You know, we just can't take that chance.
Isn't Beacon a,
Ma'am?
This
Well-
part's not open yet, though.
Not up, you have to,
Sorry, Devin.
there's two that have opted in.
okay, so it's agreed to set the public hearing on
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. We
motion?
set the public hearing for...
November 3rd.
For November 3rd.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 3 is the Katy Field tennis courts.
So I know that this is going to, 3 and 4 really are going to combine together, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
But, so, there was a gentleman that you spoke to, Danielle. Is he here? Yes. I don't know who, can you come up to the mic for me, sir? So, this gentleman reached out to Sandy, and I believe Danielle spoke to him either yesterday or today.
Yes.
And I'm going to kind of give you the floor to talk about what you want to talk about with the...
Sure. My daughter plays on the softball team. The parents helped clear out the area, and we would like to put a batting cage in, at least on one side of the tennis courts. I've spoken to a fencing contractor, actually the one who put the fence that's in there now. I know the town has to put out the bid and all of that, but they would donate the materials the town would only be responsible for the labor. Right now, if you know that field, there's no batting cages around for the kids, and there's no place for the girls to warm up if they're going to go into the game and pitch that they can warm up safely. So we think that would be an ideal use of the space, at least half of the space. That's really all I got.
Thanks. To go one step further with it as well, the rec committee met a couple times, and there was tossing around the idea of the rec committee asking the town board to turn that into a fenced-in area for dogs. So, and then I know that, I guess there's some pickleball stuff. So, John, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so during the Bicentennial, I met 2 fantastic people who made a comment about they looked at the tennis courts and they were like excited about it, and which is the first time in many, many years anyone's been excited about those tennis courts. And they have a thing that they play, and I guess it's a very up-and-coming sport and very popular. Pickleball, so I don't see them. Where
I think he's right there because he's
Oh,
holding
there
the
you are.
thing in his hand.
So I'm gonna actually give the floor to you, and
Are we talking about the same courts, by the way?
same courts, yes.
Yep.
Well, he did say he only wanted one, right? So we still have one that we could bargain.
Let's see if your idea is better. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe we share.
Maybe we could share. For those of you that don't know what pickleball is a sport, like Mr. DeVecchio was saying, it is really up and coming. It's becoming extremely popular. It kind of combines 3 sports: ping pong, badminton, and tennis. It's similar to tennis in the fact that, you bounce the ball back and forth over the net to each other. But ping pong, because it's played with a hard paddle and a hard ball. And badminton, because it's about the same size court. The size of the court is about half the size of a tennis court. So if we do use that one tennis court over there, it will yield 2 pickleball courts. Two tennis courts will give us 4 pickleball courts. This game is appropriate for all ages. Young kids, I played tonight. We played down at James Baird. Down at James Baird, they converted 2 tennis courts there into 6 pickleball courts. And tonight we had about 20 people playing. I play with people who are 20 years old up to 80 years old. It could be challenging and fast-paced, but it could also be, whatever the level is that you want it to be. In addition to that, pickleball is also extremely social, meaning that, unlike tennis where you're so far away from each other when you play, you're a little bit closer. You and your partner are constantly talking, having fun. Your opponents are close enough where you can have fun with them, but you're also far enough away that you can maintain a safe distance. So it's kind of a perfect thing for a time like, like now, what we're going through now. In addition to James Baird converting 2 of their tennis courts, and there's talks now they're going to be converting a 3rd tennis court into even more pickleball courts because nobody's using the tennis courts anymore over there. Pickleball is completely taking over. Red Hook, they had an outdoor hockey arena where they use inline skates for hockey. They converted that into 4 pickleball courts, and they're using those a lot. Lime Kiln down in East Fishkill, over by IBM, they installed 6 pickleball courts there. And in Hyde Park, they built brand new ones over by the Statsburg Firehouse near Dinsmore. They built brand new ones. And Mark Molinaro was there for the opening. Sue Serino was there for the opening. They were out there playing. Everybody was having a great time. I did share with you the dimensions. All right, so you guys have that if you're interested. Like I said, one tennis court that's back there is on a space that's about 120 feet, which is the ideal space to put 2 pickleball courts. And both of those courts have 120 feet, so you can use that space to create 4 courts. What you would need to do, however, there are some cracks in the cement. So we would have to go in there and maybe get the debris out of the cracks and put some sealer in to clean them up, get the weeds out. We would have to clean the surfaces, repaint the surfaces, paint some new lines. And then another option would be what we would have to do is we would have to put nets in. There's a couple different ways that we could go about that. We could spend some money and put permanent nets in, but they also have portable net options too that we could put up and take down, on a nightly basis, or people bring their own nets even. Another thing is we would have to install a small fence where the tennis court nets used to be. We would have to do maybe a small fence to divide each pickleball court, because when we're playing long ways, the ball would then roll into the neighboring pickleball court. So to prevent that from happening, a small fence would have to go in between the pickleball courts. I don't think we would need to put a fence in the open face area because the ball doesn't go very far. You could just go and get it. So that's all. I hope you think about it and you take it serious. And if you build it, they will come, right? We've heard that before. And listen, I play with these people down at Baird Park. We get a big crowd on the weekends. We get 30, 40 people playing down there. And what do we do after? We go to the diners, right? We go to the bars down there. Do it here, and you'll see the same thing. All right? All right, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. My name's Brian. I'm up at Gretna Woods. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Question for you before, so cost?
Yeah, so the cost of a portable net is about $150.
Okay.
If you wanted to do permanent nets, it would probably be about $500 each. And then whatever the cost of the repair of the cracks and the paint, I'm not.
You
I'm
wouldn't
not
have to
really sure.
resurface the whole?
No, I don't
no?
think so.
No?
I looked at it, and I don't think it's in bad shape. Now, Lime Kiln, when they did the courts over down there, it was in very similar shape. They just patched up the cracks, and it's good to go. You know what? I think it would be a good place to start. Just do some surface work. And if we get a big crowd, if you see a lot of people playing over a long period of time, then maybe we'll come back and talk about fixing it and making it, a little bit better. I'm also sending this presentation to the Pleasant Valley Rotary Club, and I'm going to ask them if they want to help out. All right? Sound good?
Thanks.
If it was a portable net, who would be responsible?
The players.
Players?
Players, yeah, players would do it. So what happens is in a couple different communities that I play in Maryland, where I visit, we have a big bin with a padlock on it, and you keep everything secured in there, and the players would just share that information. There's an app that we use. It's called Playtime Scheduler. So if I wanted to say, I'm going to be playing tonight down behind the town hall, I would put that in the app, and people would say, oh, Brian's going to be there at 5 o'clock, I'm going to go. And that's how we organize.
Nice.
So we share that information through the app. So if you download this app and you want to play, all you need is that app, and you see where people are playing, and then you go. All the facilities are on the app. Red Hook's on there. Logrum Park is on there. That's in Kingston. Lime Kiln, James Baird, they're all on there. All right? So it's a well-oiled machine. If you add this place, you'll see people will be back there playing. All right?
Is there any gambling?
No.
Too bad.
No.
John, what do you say? You want to play?
No,
We'll have to have the
bet
rescue-
against me, that's for
We'll
sure.
have to have the rescue squad standing by, though.
Yeah, not safe.
Anyway, I shared my contact information with Mr. Delvecchio. He has my email. He has my phone number. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll be, more than happy to come down and help out. Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, Brian.
much.
Just a quick side note to all this. Sandy was getting some pricing, I guess, on some resurfacing of the tennis courts in Helen Aldridge. They are going to add the pickleball lines to that court as well for no additional cost. Just
Okay.
as a, so we'll have those potentially here as well as up in Helen Aldridge.
Okay, let's move on.
So, here's my question though. Should we ask the rec committee what they want to do? Can somebody silence their cell phone? It's a. So should we?
Doesn't have to shut it off.
I guess not.
I'll have a toasted almond.
So my
One of
question
those?
is, do we ask the rec committee what they, going back in their data to figure out what they recommend is the best use? I have a feeling it's going to be a 50-50 split between the baseball courts and
Yeah.
the pickleball, but, because that way I actually kind of gives a little something to everybody out of those.
Well, we should keep them in the loop,
Yeah, I
that's for
agree.
sure,
All right, I'll report back next meeting as to what they.
Okay, the new town hall. What's the,
Let's move.
Yesterday.
so you put that on the agenda, so,
Well, the new, that would probably go for having someone to visit it. And I know we have coming up, so I'd like to go back to that if we can, when we hit the Pleasant Valley Food Pantry. So that probably was a mistake, because it was going with both of those.
okay.
Okay, so we'll come back to that when we get to
So,
the food pantry.
Camp Neutemi. I spoke to the realtor today, and remember we were talking about offering a sort of a nominal bid?
Mhm.
He wouldn't tell me exactly, but it's a $4 or $5 million. So I don't think we're capable of providing that kind of money for this.
So
And I
did we
think the county is interested in this too.
Did we actually put a bid in?
No?
Okay, so what we discussed was to actually put a bid in to keep the timeline going and to stay in the game.
Well, it's still in the game, that they're still considering
Okay.
it, but what I'm saying is, if we put $1 million in, it's laughable, if they're looking for 4 to 5 million.
So last we left on this conversation that there was a date that was coming up.
It's still open, John, but
Okay.
if we're gonna be realistic about purchasing, we have to come up with more money.
But you didn't exactly get a number.
Well, he couldn't really give me,
It's open bidding, there's no real number, it's open bidding.
I get it. So
Well,
did he give
Paul,
you a
there
number?
were several proposals made, okay? But of course, you can't tell me what they are, that's for sure. But the realistic number is $1 million is gonna be laughable. They're looking to get 4 to 5 million. And I know the county was interested in this too. I don't know if Don is here. The county's interested in purchasing it.
I don't know if you really can talk
Yeah,
about that.
I reported on that previously. There's non-disclosure agreements with the administration and the realty firm. The legislature has, no bearing on that process until it becomes an actual
Right.
potential gift. But yes, from our understanding, is the county either submitted a bid or is submitting a bid.
Okay.
So you don't want to make a bid at all?
What would you propose we bid?
Well, I would say the bid that we had discussed, or at least something close to that, and then it's no until you ask.
Paul?
So the first thing I would say that is if the board is going to talk about a number or even the ballpark of a number, it should be done in executive session.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we really don't want to discuss that. But, I thought that the bids were, the deadline has passed.
It has, but
They've extended it?
Yes.
Okay. So I think any discussion on, a price and numbers or contractual terms should be done in executive session.
Okay.
We're having one.
All right, the ad hoc committee.
We held some interviews. Originally, there were 6 applicants. 1 said he wasn't interested, 1 never got back to us, and 1 moved. So there was 3 people left, with the idea that, Johnny, you and I would be on this ad hoc committee with them. So I would...
Wait a minute. I was under the impression we were just really supposed to pick the people. We were just like we did for the ethics committee.
This is a committee that we're supposed to dive, unless you don't want to do it, but we were supposed to dive into our policies and procedures to figure out how to not have this event happen the way it happened the last time.
Okay. I was under the impression that we were picking this committee and have them investigate how we handled this last situation, and we go from there. That was under my impression.
Oh, my impression was, and I thought we talked about this, that we
did.
Yeah, we would be on the committee with some residents to really dive into what happened.
Okay.
And how to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah. So I'll have a resolution ready next meeting, with the proper names for the committee.
Okay.
Okay.
The food pantry.
All right. So there's been much discussion about the food pantry. And I've done a lot of research into a phenomenal organization. I probably will not do any justice explaining this, so I brought along a representative of the food pantry and St. Paul's Church. John, if you would take the microphone and please.
The knee worked better this morning, I apologize. So hi, thank you for a bit of your time tonight. My name is John Seimer, and I'm on the committee for the Pleasant Valley Ecumenical Community Food Pantry. And that's a lot of big words, but basically what we do, because we're a quiet organization. We've existed for 35 years in this town, and every Wednesday we pass out food to those in need. And there's an undercurrent of food need in our community. I know you folks all know it, and I'm talking to your heartstrings when I'm talking about this stuff. We are under the umbrella of the 4 churches in our community. That's St. Stan, that's St. Paul's, the Presbyterian Church. We're currently located at the Methodist Church, and that's why I'm here. The Methodist Church, as you may know, is closed. It's up for sale. They've joined forces with, I believe, Pine Plains, and this building is extraneous to them. So that's where we're based. We have a room where we store our food. We have another room where we distribute the food, all staffed by volunteers, administered by volunteers. We get food from the New York Food Bank. We get food from, I mean, we have wonderful support. The Pleasant Valley Fire Department every week shows up with pickup trucks of food. And that comes from these good folks. They drop it off at the Pleasant Valley Fire Department. The Masons support us. We got 2 or 3 young Masons there every Wednesday night humping food, you know. Our problem is we are a going concern, but we are potentially have no place to be. And that's why I'm here. It has been thought that the new town hall would be an ideal location for us because we need 2 things. We need a place on Wednesday night with a parking lot so that we can give out food, and we need a place to store our food during the week. We don't have, well, we do. We give out perishable food. We give out vegetables, bread, desserts, dog food, cat food, personal hygienes, you name it, we got it. We do not store anything perishable from one week to the next. We give it away. If we don't have it, well, then we'll take it down to the Grace Smith house, distribute it that way, but there's nothing perishable left from week to week. We're canned goods, we're packaged goods, and we have frozen meat products and fish. So our requirements are a space where we can put our shelves, where we can put our freezers, and then collapse out on Wednesdays to distribute to the people in need in our community. And our capture area is predominantly the town of Pleasant Valley. We look at the Arlington School District and our surrounding environs as particularly where our people come from. I can tell you on any given night, because I look at myself as the grunt. John knows that. I'm the grunt laborer there. You know, it's senior citizens, families of 1. It's families of 7. And you look in the car and you see 5 little people, and we're helping. So we need help. And that's why I'm here, to ask, how can the town board help us to come up with a space to meet that need? We're a small footprint, but on Wednesday nights, Monday mornings, we load up the shelves. Again, all volunteers. That's our extent. We are able to pay our own utilities. We can pay our own insurance rider or individual policy as needed. We operate currently under the umbrella of the 3 churches, so we haven't had the need for going in for like a 503 corporation. If that's our need, we can do that without a problem. So if that's something that's needed to go on to the next step, you know, I can personally make that happen. You know, John asked me, well, what about rodents? What about, you know, mice? Simply not a problem. You know, there's no holdover food except canned food. The mice are smart, but they don't operate the can opener yet. And like I said, we don't hold perishable food from one week to the next. And we're a real simple operation. You know, people show up, they get a card, they make selections from each area of the food, from soup to cereals to nuts to pork loins to fish, you name it. Some personal hygiene items. We take care of the dogs if they have dogs, take care of the babies if they have babies, and we carry it out to their car in little red wagons, you know, and load it in, and off they go. So the clientele has a very small presence on the premise. Predominantly, they're in their car. They come in, they fill out their order sheet, and then we bring it to their car. That's why I'm here.
So I have suggested several times that we allow you to occupy probably the eastern quarter corner of the new town hall. It would be advantageous to you guys if you actually saw the space and actually were able to go into the space to see if that actually fits your needs, correct?
That would be wonderful. You know, we have steel shelving, go in with a tape measure. You know, we got lots of volunteers that can refit if need be. Got a modicum of money to do a refit, but seeing the space would be wonderful.
And it would be advantageous for you to have a decision soon, correct?
Yes, and the reason why is, you know, we see the Realtor there showing the church. You know, it's actively being marketed, and we're not party to any of those conversations. So we could get 60, 90-day notice to vacate, and then we're going to be nowhere. And we've knocked on a lot of doors in this community. We've looked at a lot of space. There really is not a lot of open space that would fit our need. There's a couple of commercial places. We simply can't afford, you know, $30 per square foot rented. You know, then every dollar we spend on utility takes away the dollar that we buy food. So yes.
Okay, I have several concerns.
Okay.
First of all, the number one thing is that with building, with the construction and infrastructure construction that's going to have to go on up at the new town hall, it is really, it's not really a good thing for us to, I hate to say, house them up there right now. I think insurance-wise, and the fact that there will be debris all over the place, and probably for some time while we're doing this project, we're going to have a gate across the front of the place so nobody even drives in and out of there, let alone anything else. So I'm really concerned about putting someone in that building that is not conducive to holding anybody right now. The air conditioning doesn't work, the heating doesn't work. I don't even know if at this point the septic works correctly. I'm very concerned about that. I'm going to assume that you have called and looked at other places in the town.
I have looked at other places in the town, for sure.
Okay. Is there anybody that might be able to house you temporarily? And then we could put you, I'm all for you being up there. The problem is that our insurance agent's going to gasp because this becomes a very, very touchy situation where legally if somebody gets out of the car and happens to trip into something that we're doing construction with, I mean, the next thing you know, the town is going to get sued. So we have to be careful. The other thing is you said that you're under an umbrella right now of the other churches. So you've always operated under, like, the ecumenical food pantry?
Right. Our operation is non-religious, so there is no religious impact from our operation reaching out to the community. But the back noise or group are the three churches. It used to be four, and the Methodist Church's contribution was the space, and the other three churches contributed, you know, from their collection plate and their budget.
So you have insurance right now?
We operate under the insurance through the church.
Okay, so more than likely, you'll want to go to some type of not-for-profit.
Mary,
Under-
I'm sorry, Ms. Elber. Absolutely.
Right.
And you know, I'm a lawyer. I do insurance
Oh, so that's
law
easy for you then?
all
Okay.
day long. Absolutely, both of those
Right.
things would be something that we would want to be doing too. Because we can't have our people there without having those same protections.
Right.
So that would be on the list of things. As far as you're concerned, being an impediment to the refit of the building, we are not there during construction hours to begin with. So we can isolate ourselves. And on any given night, we're talking about 10, 12, 15 cars in the parking lot scattered, plus some volunteers. So we're not a huge impact, but we can't go into a small little shopping center where there's 8 places either. So that's why the town hall just dances out as the
No, it
ideal
does, and it's a
location.
wonderful thing for you to be able to be part of. My fear is that it's not going to be a good thing while we're under construction. There's going to be a serious amount of work that's going to have to be done up there.
So am I to understand we start construction soon? Because that's news to me. We've been sitting here dormant for a long time. What's the
But
plan?
right now, John,
Wait
you
a
have to
minute.
be realistic. We don't even have,
We don't have a
can't
plan.
even use the septics.
We
We
don't
don't
even-
have heating in there. We don't have air conditioning. You're going to have to patchwork the whole instance to be able to use, I assume you have freezers and fridges
We
and
have
stuff?
3 freezers and a refrigerator. So we're not,
Right.
we're really week to week or bi-weekly. On Monday mornings, we restock. We go over to the other side of the river, we get our
Right,
food,
I know,
we bring it
yeah.
back.
Right, I know the routine, yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
To follow up with Mary's comments, I have received an email on September 9th from our insurance carrier. Basically, I'll read it. I do not believe anyone from the public be allowed in the new town hall while there is in the course of construction. As we have previously discussed, this is currently insured under builder's risk form. In addition to town employees, including town board members, only contractors and the town engineer should be given permission to inspect the premises. This is for the town's protection. This is part of the risk management that the town take a lead on. Keeping losses to a minimum and reducing exposures helps in the overall premium savings for the town's overall insurance cost. Being proactive is always the best. So that's from our insurance carrier. In other words, they're saying we shouldn't use the building while it's under this risk policy. And I think Paul will back me up on this, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, and the liability from that. It is a vacant building at this time. I'm not saying that's a end-all, be-all. I mean, that hurdle maybe can be overcome, but I think that there's another issue that may not be able to be overcome, and that is through the New York State Constitution, which provides that municipalities can't have, there's a prohibition against unconstitutional gifts. And essentially what that is that the municipality can't provide a gift to private citizens, nonprofits, and in some respects other municipalities. So I'm assuming here that the arrangement would be that your organization would not pay rent at the new town hall, and if that's the case, that would be an unconstitutional gift to yourself, your association, or however ultimately your organization is formed and existing. That would be prohibited by the New York State Constitution. So what would be required would be that, and I'm not saying that the town couldn't rent space to your organization, however it is ultimately formed, but the town would have to receive fair and accurate rent for that space, which to me may be a prohibitive factor in establishing a relationship with this organization. I think that there may be some question if the town does provide free space to your organization, what other organizations are going to come out of the woodwork and say, we would like space at the new town hall at, the same rate or no rent or discounted rent. And that just, feeds back into that unconstitutional gift prohibition by the New York State Constitution. So that would be one of my concerns, in addition to some of the liabilities, which obviously can be overcome if the town wants to make the building so it's not vacant and habitable by a tenant. But I'm more concerned with the issue of the unconstitutional gift.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think the quality of an agreement could perhaps address the profit, a rent to such as a 503C corporation. I'll take a look at the definition of what would be an appropriate rent. I can get back to you on that.
So I think there would have to be an independent valuation of what that rent is. And then the question is if you're going to be paying fair market value rent to the town, why isn't there some other location in the town that you could be also paying fair market value rent to that would be just as accessible and efficient as that space?
Well, I appreciate what you just said, and as I indicated to you, I would like to see the regulation with respect to fair and market value rent, and we can perhaps address that. The usage that we're talking about is de minimis during the normal business hours, so there are lots of ways to get to what's fair and reasonable under the attendant circumstances. If you would be so kind as, I'll give you my card. Sure. If you would be so kind as to shoot me, what particular statute you're referencing. Yep. Be happy to have a conversation about that.
So one of my things is, this may not even be a perfect fit for the food bank. So one of the requests were to have them come in and just inspect the area that we're talking about to even decide whether or not that's something that it's a viable option for them. It may not be.
Johnny, you're missing the point of something.
No, I'm not missing the point.
We cannot
We've
go
already
there
had,
with
hold on, we've
anybody.
already had the state troopers training there. We've already had a car show there. And as far as the constitutional letting people use
That was
town
the-
property, we've had karate out in the
Car
pavilion.
thing, I have no idea about what happened with that. But the state troopers have insurance, and they had to have a very big policy in order to do.
So Paul, if they have a policy to where they can walk into a building to look at it, would that suffice?
So if the town wants to invite, I would say not open to the public, not just, any member of the public can stop up at town hall on this day between this hours, but if the town wants to specifically bring, for instance, this gentleman here, we could provide sufficient releases and he can sign a release, he can sign a waiver of liability, and with that, I would be comfortable enough for, one person or two people to go and view the space, with the understanding that it may, it is a vacant building. It's not, we're not making a representation as to the condition of it.
Sure.
But if you want to sign off your liability and you want to sign a waiver, then I think we can work that out.
I think that's fair. I appreciate that, and we'd be willing to do that. And we would also not be trooping over 15 or 18 people.
Yeah.
Bring somebody over who could take a look, do a set of quick photos, quick drawing, and we'd be out of there. Might want to look at the utilities if we can separate that out. So that would be great. This is me.
That's okay.
That's my email, so if you could shoot it, go right to my desk and do the firewall.
I have also been on the phone with probably 75% of the places in Pleasant Valley that I could ever think that would be able to house you. There's a couple more that I would like to try to talk more to them about this.
Ms. Elbrook,
So
that
that-
would be wonderful.
So I will do that again. Yeah, that's another thing I was going to
Always,
say, is if anybody out here knows of anything that's available in any way, shape, or form, the word of mouth for something like this can help tremendously.
Yeah,
And it's actually a good place for Facebook to be.
That's what I was told.
think of that.
Because that's what they have now.
I'm not on Facebook, but the lawyer has my phone number. I welcome phone call from anybody. I envision
Right.
that,
How-
if somebody knows a space,
How much space do you need?
probably about 1,250 to 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, it's not as big as you think.
We are-
I visited, I helped with the truck. I got a firsthand look at how everything operates. It's absolutely spectacular. The people pitch in, they don't even, You know, they just all know what to do. It really is amazing. And I can't thank you enough for allowing me to sit in on your meeting, myself and Legislator Sagliano. That was very informative of how you go. It's a non-judgmental group. Anybody comes, they're served, period. And if you have extra cans around, if you have stuff that you want to, please do. Give it to that organ, or to your churches, because it all goes there.
The church, the Pleasant Valley Fire Department is in an ideal spot.
Yep.
So if you want to do help that way, that's ideal. I'm in the phone book, my last name is Symer, S-Y-M-E-R, Jonathan. I'm only called Jonathan when people are mad at me. Give me a call if you have an idea of what we can do. You know, our idea is to stay in the capture area here. And I know I'm talking to all of your hearts. So this is a great community. This is part of it. Thanks, folks. Have a great night.
So, Paul, can I make a motion at this point to have them do a walkthrough? Or do I not need to do that now?
I don't think you need a motion. I think that I will prepare a release and waiver. I, have the kind of standard one that we'll use, and I don't think you really need a motion or anything.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, the Saw Point Turnpike speed limit. Oh.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike, and I'm representing Jim Murray. He's a resident at 16 Saw Point Turnpike. The speed limit is 55 miles an hour. It's fairly a straight road that goes past residents, farms, farms that right now have a pumpkin picking, and there's people crossing roads. 55 is always 65. 45 is always 55. It's people always. We all drive. We know when there's people. You're just never going fast enough a lot of times. For safety reasons, we're looking to lower the speed limit. There's drag racing at night. It's a 2-lane road. 1 lane each way. Somebody's going to be on the wrong side of the road. It's usually on Friday nights. During the day, there's school buses. I live off of Saw Point, and people, they don't even stop. Never mind. That's another issue. But there's a lot of traffic as far as the farms. Hans Farm, for example, I don't know them personally, but they have a lot of activity, especially the weekends. And you're not that far off the Taconic. So you're doing 65 on Taconic and you want to get on the side road, it's going to take you a while to realize that you're driving faster than you should, because you've just been driving an hour and a half for 2 hours doing 65, which is 55, but everybody on Taconic is 65. The other thing is, if everybody's here might be familiar with Netherwood, it's on a bend. And I was witness to a car coming off of Netherwood to make a right onto Saw Point. So naturally, you look to your left because you're going to make the right. But the person didn't notice that there was somebody actually passing him over a double yellow line. And you're talking, it was almost a head-on collision. I have no idea how. And they're passing you. You're doing 50, 55, and they're still passing you. Coming here, I got passed twice on North Road, and that's 45. I wasn't going fast enough. It's a serious issue as far as the speed limit goes, and that one section where it's 55 miles an hour, I got to tell you, that's ridiculous. It's just too fast. And actually, my street is, I live on McCullough Lane. It's a dead-end road. The school bus in the morning and in the afternoon turns onto my street, goes to the dead end, makes the U-turn, crosses back over Saw Point to continue the opposite direction, and stops to pick up those children. You're all, any of you, at any time you want. You're lucky to sit there. I'll give you a half hour, you'll see 3 people. It's really, it's out of control, and I'd like to see something done about it. I think in the future, it would save someone's life. I've been there for 3 years now. We've had cars hit trees, deers. The speed limit it's bad. That's the best they could do for now, and hopefully we can address it again at the next meeting.
We,
The town itself can request that the state look into the speed limit and do a survey.
well, we looked into
Or
that.
not, it's up to them.
I have an email here from our town engineer on July 16th. Mr. Murray was in asking about it. So this is from Greg Bolner, our town engineer. He says, I looked into this, and we can do type reports to the town. We'll need to request a speed reduction. New York State did a count in 2019, the vehicle counts and speed data, so CPL, the engineer, could use that for purposes of the study. The town can request an accident data from the county and state police. To complete the study, it would cost about $5,000. Once the study is submitted, there may be additional cost if DOT requests additional information to justify the speed reduction. As discussed and based on a quick review by our traffic person, it is likely that DOT would reject this request for a speed reduction unless there are accident reports that would support the speed reduction. I don't want to promise that this would be successful because of the alignment and rural nature of the area. The road would likely support the currently posted speed limit. If the town wants a more formal proposal, I can provide one. So basically what he's saying, we're going to do a study and they're probably going to be rejected. So we did look into this. I told Mr. Murray about this. But, I think in my view, it's not so much the speed reduction, it's a matter of enforcement.
Well, that's welcome. They're welcome to sit in my driveway all day long. I'll give them
Because
lunch.
if it's a state road, if the state police would put a radar,
Sure,
I think that would be.
anything.
I think that would slow it down for a while. Usually the people that get caught in the radar trap are the residents. That's what happens.
Well, I don't know where Big Rush is to go. I mean, what do you have, what I'm saying? Like, what's the big deal? You got to rush out, go get milk.
Well,
You gotta rush. Everybody rushes to the next red light.
We could put it on the agenda for the 20th and we could discuss it. I mean, I'm just giving you the facts. We did look into this.
So did it say in that report by Greg that if the DOT had traffic reports and accident reports, it would be better to have that going into before they did a report?
He says here, if you look at it, it says they can get the data from the county and the state on the accident reports.
Right.
And, but they may require more.
Unless there are accident reports that would support the speed reduction. So I think that might be a good way to start.
All right, so you're only basing the speed reduction on accident reports?
So I'm just going by what this says here.
Okay.
So I would think that if we had a series of accidents that were reported, or incidents maybe a combination of incidents. So maybe if you have several residents in that area claiming tire marks on their lawn as they went by, if they kept reporting it, that along with accident reports, I got to believe that may open up their eyes a little bit, and maybe that might help go forth.
Now, they did, in that report, they did state that it's a rural road. And I'll be honest with you, I think 55 is pretty fast for a rural one-way road. I mean, it's not rural. There's farms, there's residents, there's people crossing cows. Last week, a woman was walking a horse down the street on a lead. It's a used road. People use their bicycles. I don't see it that rural, to be honest with you. I have neighbors where I can, I'm not. It's not that desolate, is what I'm.
Well, it's up to the town board if they want to spend the money.
how would you, if you don't, I'm sorry to interrupt, I shouldn't have done that, but do they have a speed, you know those things that they put across the road that measures traffic? Those rubber strips,
Yeah, yeah.
the little box, do they have anything that can measure the speed, or? I mean, could we get something like that for now to help with the study?
I think that is the study, isn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be part
I don't
of
know.
the thing that you're paying for. I
Yeah.
think they would probably set up two strips, one place and one at another, and a car that goes across one, and it's timed to the second one, so the meter reads that distance. So
That would
I
be
think
part
that
of
would
the
be part
study.
of the study
Yeah.
itself. So in order to get that, I think the eyes have to be opened up a little bit. So that might be something you guys can work on in the meantime, and we could just certainly discuss it and bring it up again as to whether we should spend the money. I don't have no problem with.
Yeah, I just feel that if the speed limit is reduced to 45, people are gonna do 55 anyway, but at least they're not doing 65.
Listen, I live off of Netherwood Road. I know exactly what you're talking about. They
Netherwood, the
fly.
speed limit in Netherwood's kinda crazy with all those bends too.
They fly.
So, anyway, hopefully we're going in the right direction with this. All right, we're all set?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, number 10, the Bicentennial weekend.
So, I'm going to table this till the 20th if I can, because they're not here to give their report.
Okay.
It's not everything is all in yet.
Okay.
There's still some outstanding bills to be paid, and there's still some
That's
outstanding
fine.
revenue. So I'd like to leave that for them, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries on them.
Okay. The rec committee seat?
We're going to appoint somebody next meeting. Sandy's been away on vacation. Her son came from California to visit. She hasn't seen him in a couple of years, as well as she's on vacation again this week for some other family stuff. So I just haven't had the chance to talk to her about it, but we're going to have a resolution ready to appoint somebody next meeting.
Okay. Paul, do you want to go to executive session to discuss the Neutemi?
That's up to the town board.
So, but do we do that before we open the meeting to them or after?
Well, I'm just asking the board. What do you want to do?
Oh, do you want to have this Camp Neutemi?
We shouldn't waste these people's time.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Have them sitting here.
I agree.
Let's do it after
Let the folks
I agree.
have their
Yeah.
time, and then we can go in afterwards.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we were going to table that because they're not here. I'll make a motion that we open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a comment. Phil Apicino. I'd like to make a comment on the Camp Neutemi purchase. If you're just going to put a bid in as an exercise, and it sounds like we're 20% of the actual request that they're looking for, I'm sure it's going to cost us money to put a proposal in. Then we got to put money. I'm sure they want a deposit. Then we got to work on getting our deposit back. I mean, if it's not a realistic offer, does it really make sense? That's my piece there. About the new town hall, I agree. You're going to need a construction fence around here, no matter what you start. If you're starting on one end of the building or the other, you're going to need a construction fence. The building, I'm sure, doesn't have a current certificate of occupancy right now. You probably don't have life support systems. You're going to need a renovation before you can start putting anybody in there. Now, if they're going to want 12 to 1,500 square feet, that's usable square footage. That's not hallways. That's over 10% of your building space now that you got to think about, can you give up that much square footage? You understand what I'm saying? If the building's 15, 18,000 square feet, you got to separate all the hallways, but they're taking 12 to 1,500 usable square footage. So it's a big percentage of your usable square footage. The other thing I would suggest is, you know, if you're going to get the renovation started, put together maybe a building committee with professionals. You might find some architects that are retired that are in town, some engineers, some building tradespeople, and let them just go through what the proposals were and do some work. We were talking about this the other night, about getting the residents involved. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall. I really like the idea of the pickleball. I think it's a good way to get people down into Katy. My 2 cents about the fenced in the dog area is that the park has no dogs allowed, so I guess people would have to carry them to the back. It's just a point. The sale of the marijuana, I'm glad that you decided to table that. I think the board should look real hard. It's hard not to have the money from the marijuana, and I believe we should opt in at some point. My concern would be lounges in the shops themselves. I would like, and I like the idea of making sure our zoning laws are up to date before, if we could, before getting into the marijuana. When it comes to Camp Neutemi, I took a ride in there. I was shocked. It's absolutely beautiful. My concern would be maintenance. You know, the costs that would be associated with maintenance. But I think we're on the right track. I'm interested to see the budget. Thank you to the town board for putting the money back in and making sure that the residents got the money back. I really think that was a good thing to do. Thank you.
Hi, how's it going?
Just since you guys are new, no offense, just state your name and where you live for the record.
Devin Knox. I live on North Avenue, Pleasant Valley.
Tammy Izzo, I live on Rossway.
We're just here to really try to convince you guys about the batting cages. I can't tell you how much sports helps kids in this town. Yeah. I mean, if you see the kids that go out there and play, those kids don't get in trouble, right? So.
For us, we were the parents that came and we weeded the fences, we painted the dugouts. We're doing what we can for our kids. For batting cages, again, that would really help them because of the fact they don't have a place to warm up. They don't have a place to really play. This is the only softball field right for them.
And I got to tell you, like, it's not just the girls, it's the boys, it's everybody, right? They can all use that facility. And I got to tell you, we travel. We don't have a league for softball in the town, so we have to go to other towns. Our girls see the other towns and their fields, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit there and badmouth our town, but we don't have a good field for them. They don't have what they need to feel like they can succeed, right? I mean, that's a thing, and they're old enough to understand that. So, like, when we don't invest in them, they know that.
And they don't give their, they don't want to do anything if we don't invest in them.
So I'm just saying, my 9-year-old daughter, when she goes out there and, like, she doesn't have the facilities that the other teams have, she knows that. I mean, she's old enough to recognize that, right? Yeah. So, I mean, and the other thing is whatever you would decide to invest in, pickleball, the batting cages, we need to maintain it. Like, let's not spend our money and then just let it go. Like, that's what we've done. So, you know, parents go out there, we try to clean the fields, try to do what we got to do. We need to keep it up.
In fact, I believe Ed was out there today.
Right,
He was out there today.
Yep, I was just going to give Ed a little plug, actually, after you were done.
Yeah, I mean, taking care of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, you know.
That alone was a huge difference. We're just asking for a little bit more.
I mean,
we have somebody that's willing to donate the fencing.
Yeah.
I mean, as for pickleball, I'm sorry, but
You mean for the batting cages?
the
you
batting
want
cages,
some-
yes.
Oh,
But as for
all right.
pickleball, I mean, it's at Baird.
I know. And I mean, even if you go both ways, just make sure the girls and the boys get the batting cages. I'm telling you, it's good for everybody in this town. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on the field condition. Obviously, you saw it, but thanks to John Baxter and his guys this morning, they brought down some infield mix for us. I called him late last night after a conversation with Ed, so he dropped off some infield mix this morning. And Ed, I was going to help you, but you were done by the time I got here. So, but Ed did work on the field. For all of you who saw the pictures of it on social media, Ed fixed it, and hopefully we'll get the bases fixed in the next day or so as well.
Thank you for doing that.
I guess we're working under the rules of this, except there's been a lot of off discussion. I think your rules are stupid, but. Okay. That better? Okay. I think the rules are stupid, but we've allowed discussion to go on here already before the meeting was even opened. Not that I disagree with any of it. The fellow from Salt Point Turnpike is my neighbor. I've lived there about 57 years. The worst traffic I had when I moved in was Lou Diallo, God bless him, rest his soul. Lived up on Rimp Road, came down the road at 20 miles an hour, and I had to get out in front of him because I'd be late for work. Rolling along with the story, as years went past, traffic increased naturally, no problem. The biggest input to the quality of traffic on that road was when they started closing exits on Salt Point Turnpike, on Taconic State Parkway. That transferred all of the traffic. Our road is now considered a drug alley because they come down from New York and get on Salt Point Turnpike and go to the city of Poughkeepsie. Now let me tell you, Arboreal Road, the next road is Tannen Drive. That's where 45 stops, 45 miles an hour. From there on, it's 55. 45 mile per hour sign, the 45 mile an hour per sign is on a curve before my house. End of 45 mile per hour. I have clocked, and I have set a visual thing that I can time. I clock cars going 80, 90 miles an hour. One motorcycle I couldn't clock because it went so fast I couldn't blink. So it was well over 100 miles an hour. The other day, yesterday, I came north on Salt Point Turnpike towards my house, and I had my wife look on the watch and count the seconds from that sign to my house. 3 seconds at 55, and actually it was a little below 55 because I had to slow down to turn in. But that's how much time. I don't have time to get out on that road. The gentleman from McCulloch Lane,
Matt, Pleasant Valley resident. Was here last week regarding the ad hoc committee. I'm here about it again today. I'm wondering, Mr. Delvecchio here has a history of saying some rather racist, bigoted, and misogynistic things, and I don't understand how he can sit up here and say that he's going to be in any way fair-minded when looking into the travesty that was the Black Lives Matter march that resulted in all kinds of violence right here in our town. So I asked Mr. Delvecchio about his racism last week, and he told me to meet him outside. So a bunch of us waited outside for him. What happened? Sir?
I believe we went into executive session.
Okay, after executive session. The people were waiting to
You were
talk to
gone.
me. I was gone? Okay.
Went outside, there was nobody there.
There was nobody there. Okay. Well, I don't know how long you're going to be at executive session tonight, but I have all night to wait for you to come outside, and we can discuss. I don't understand why we can't discuss your racism here. This is our town.
Once again, this is not the proper forum.
Where is the proper
This is totally inappropriate. This is not the time and place for this.
Where is the time and place to discuss
Let's
the racism of our
let's
town
stick to
supervisors?
agenda items. No, this is a personal attack is what this is, and I'm not very happy with it,
I
okay?
don't care what you're happy about, Keith. I really honestly don't. What I'm unhappy about is that this man is going to represent this town and has a history of racism and bigotry, misogyny and other.
Well, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it, but you know what? In the end, that's up to the voters, is it not?
Racism is an opinion? His racism is an opinion.
No, it's your opinion that he's a racist, okay?
Are you saying you're not?
It's my opinion that he's not a racist, okay?
I have racist comments from you. Shall we bring them in and put them up on the...
No, you do not, but you know what? I do have racist and homophobic comments from you when I was running for office. The disgusting way that you attacked Councilman Steve Latino and I on Facebook. Yeah, that's why you got banned off the page, because of the filthy, disgusting, homophobic comments that you made, okay?
This is all out of order. Again, not the place. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second. You just accused me of making homophobic remarks.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. It's inappropriate, not town business.
Your town people just brought it up.
Thank you very much for your time, sir, not town business.
The ad hoc committee is town business, isn't it?
This isn't the place for this discussion.
Where is the place for this discussion?
First of all, there's kids here.
I know. They should know that that man's a racist, a homophobe, and a bigot.
That might be your opinion, but I think we need to sit down and time's up. Who's saying that?
Time's up.
Thank you.
Good evening. Excuse me? Somebody have something to say?
Not to you. This one does.
Oh, just the hecklers or?
Yeah, the hecklers.
Leftist hecklers or the?
Excuse me, are we going to get along?
Okay.
Let's get along, folks.
No. So, right here I have a racist photo from Mr. Del Vecchio.
A racist photo?
Oh, my God. That would, number one.
Is this on the agenda? No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it is. You know what? Too bad.
Not on the agenda.
Go.
It's like a man, control the meeting, supervisor. Your job.
So, again, you did not show up for our meeting. I was supposed to meet with you today. I was supposed to meet with you last week regarding the ad hoc committee, regarding the Black Lives Matter movement. You did not show up for either meeting. Frank Szynski sat in for you today. Last week's meeting just got blown off. You seem to not have any idea. And I'm not surprised, because you did have such involvement in the Black Lives Matter movement. So I have photo after photo after photo that you have.
It's not on the agenda. Stop it.
No. That you are racist.
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, do your job, as legislator Sagliano just stated.
It is the agenda. We talked about the ad hoc committee.
Right, and I'm referring to the ad hoc committee. How can you be on the ad hoc committee when you are so blatantly racist, you have so blatantly lied, you have lied about your employment, you have lied about, you know, you tell everybody you're a probation officer, you were not a probation officer.
I never said that.
Really? Really?
I work for the probation department.
Right, and what'd you do? What was your job?
I was a counselor.
You were a counselor?
Correct.
Really?
Correct.
Because from what I understand is that you were a urine checker. That you
Everyone does.
You collected the urine, sent it in, right?
Correct.
Right. And you had a lot of racist comments about the clients that you worked with. So, and I can, you know, you've misrepresented yourself. You misrepresent yourself here. And I have worries about this county, you making decisions for this town. And I have disgusting, racist text after text that people have sent me some that I actually had to delete because I couldn't keep on my phone. They were so disgusting. So you are a racist. And so I'm just going to let that go because I wanted to move on to the food pantry. I do have some ideas for the food pantry, so maybe I can meet with Mary about that.
I'm sorry.
The food pantry. I do have
Yes.
some suggestions about the pantry and believe that it is a very well worth organization. So I do
Okay.
have some thoughts of where that might be able to go.
Okay.
Places that are needed. And I'm wondering also, and I guess this isn't the place for this, but we still don't have Republican biographies.
That's your 3 minutes.
Okay. And so I'm wondering if we're going to get them to help us guide us with the election. And so this leftist, whatever I am, leftist something, is going to sit down now.
May I speak since they've gone off agenda items?
Sure. It's up to you. It's your meeting. She wants to speak about an agenda item.
This is the first one I've ever been to. I didn't know it was like.
I am Cindy Halupke. I live at 950 Salt Point Turnpike. I am Cindy Halupke. I live at 950 Salt Point Turnpike. I have something written, but I think I will just speak from my heart. I am a former secretary to the town board, 2 supervisors, and assistant to the bookkeeper. I have seen travesties in this town over and over caused by people and their drama. I am a proud member of the Republican Committee. The reason I say I'm a proud member is because they are some of the finest human beings I have ever met. I have lived in many places in my life. I have served extremely important people in my career. And I have never seen people like this. They serve from their hearts. They don't put it on Facebook. They don't need to tell you the good things that they do. They serve like nothing I've ever seen. They have given me the bug to serve as well. I swore to God I would never come back into this town, but I cannot sit by and allow people to insult some of the finest people I know. Most recently, my 2 sons lost their best friend to suicide. My Republican friends, when I let them know that I would be out of touch for several days, they were right there, every one of them, right there for me, immediately. I was not able to contact a counselor as quickly as I needed to. My son, my oldest son, and one of their best friends found the boy. The boy had been at my home the night before. We were not able to receive counseling as quickly as we needed to. With Mr. Delvecchio's training, he was able to come to our home and counsel the boys with training and with personal experience. Anybody who thinks Mr. Delvecchio is a racist is completely and totally wrong. People make comments all the time. Not one of us in this room is perfect. I know Mr. Delvecchio's family. If you know his wife and his daughters, you know that misogyny is nothing that would ever be tolerated. They are brilliant, they are independent, and they are super, super women. There is no misogyny in this man. I worked for this man. I worked for this man. You can laugh all you want, Mr. Grady. Okay, that's fine. I have worked for this man. And he was nothing, I'm sorry? No, I was not fired. I quit. I quit because of the drama and went to another job. I worked my 2 weeks and went to another job. No, I was not fired. No, I'm not going after Mary Beth's job. No, I'm not going after Melanie's job. This is absolutely ridiculous. I serve my husband and my family and I serve on the Republican committee. That's all I want to do right now. I have never been fired for a job my
Your
entire
time-
life.
Your time has been up. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? When is the new town hall gonna be worked on? I've been driving by there for years and nothing. Do we have a date when it's gonna be worked on?
No, actually, there's quite a bit of work to be done before it actually has get started.
You have a design, do you have an engineer design? PowerPoint, anyone else, public bid?
No.
I'm not trying to be a pain, I'm in construction, all I do is public works, just one.
No.
Because I know that there's a time.
No, not yet.
Not yet, no. Absolutely not yet, no.
Okay, so you guys are way
Our
up.
yeah.
Just so you know.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be a pain, I'm just telling you from, and I respect all of it, I'm just saying, you guys are way up.
So there's no start of anything yet? No plans of any? Why is it taking so long?
Well, personally, I just found out like a month and a half ago that the building would be a viable option for us. It's got a lot of issues.
Personally, I've been
But-
saying it for 2 years, it's a viable option for.
Then why didn't you do something?
I've been saying it for 2 years.
Why didn't you do something?
Means a place we can actually go to and move to.
So-
All the reports that we had prior, the engineer reports, 3 engineers I might add, who came up with reports saying that would be a perfect place for us to go to. And that person lost his election, and there was no discussion after that ever again. End of story. That's it.
That's not.
Then it was tried to be sold. Now we couldn't sell it. So it's ours. We own it.
So when is something gonna start?
I'd like to see it go tomorrow. I'd like to start with the food pantry.
Who's in charge of?
Agreed.
All of us, I would say.
All, yes.
So can you all work together and come up with a plan or something?
Yes, please.
I mean, I just had to have a new roof put on my house, a new faucet, because I had water damage. But I had to start somewhere, so I made some phone calls. We got prices, and so, is everybody here willing on the board? I'm assuming that's what you're called, ready to work on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, except that it's not quite as easy as what you did, even though that probably was a challenge also. It's very, very difficult to get things like this started in a town. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of engineer stuff, and the engineer has not really had the time. So we have to put pressure on him to get going further.
Well, I'd like to see somebody put a match under somebody's behind. But that building's empty, the laundry
Pardon?
is empty.
I just organizationally, we got to record everyone's comments. So, I mean, ma'am, if you want to finish, I would say come up to the microphone so we can record you. Just because, you know, we have to take minutes of all this.
Well, this is my first meeting, so you'll have to.
No, it's fine. It just, if you could just state who you are, just so we can get that on the record.
I'm Donna Ray Truhaft. I live in Pleasant Valley. I live in Hickory Hills Mobile Home Park, and I've been here for 33 years. And I've seen a lot in this town. But I would really like to see that town hall be used. From what I understand, the pizza guy that was in there was evicted because you guys were buying the building.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, we're gonna have a new town hall. How long has it been? I don't see the rationale behind it. You know, I mean, pen and paper, start with a list of what you need, and start getting bids, no?
Well, so earlier on, we did a space needs study, but just to be a little clearer about the reason why we put it up for sale was we were actually offered, verbal offers from people like, oh, yeah, we would buy the building for that. So we formally had to set out an RFP, and then nobody submitted a bid to the building. So we had really 4 interested people, but nobody submitted.
How long ago?
Over the summer.
Over the summer of this year.
Yeah, so over the summer, we were presented that, oh, we would buy the building. We have to sell it for at least what the town has into it. Not a problem. Okay, we sent out the bid package, and then nobody bid on the building. So shortly thereafter, Mary and I met with some engineers and some people in the construction trade, just to really kind of wrap our head around the building. I'm a printer by trade, so I really, you know, I built the deck on my house, but that's really about as far as I'm going to take it. So after that, we met with some construction professionals, and there is some work to be done. Some of the drainage needs to be cleaned out. Some water needs to be diverted around the building, because if you look at the topography of the land, it funnels down into the building. So there's concerns there.
Well, you don't want flooding like this building.
I understand. So, no, I mean,
exactly why we
after
have
meeting with them and tossing around some quick ideas just to really wrap your head around the situation, Mary and I do feel that it is a viable option for us to move Town Hall there now. So.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you're on board. So there's a couple of things that went on. Hold on. There's a couple of things that went on.
Tell me to hold on.
Well, now you want to talk?
Yeah, I'm going to talk.
I'm about to talk, and you're going to stop me.
Come on, I run the meeting, not you.
Oh, well, then run the meeting.
Okay. I have a report here from the town engineer, an evaluation of the building. I'll just read the last paragraph, okay? In summary, in trying to fit the town hall program into this building presents multiple challenges. It appears that the existing building is more suitable for a different type of facility, likely a facility that is closer to a function of its original purpose and not for the Pleasant Valley Town Hall. Also, okay, to do the renovations on that building, it's going to cost $4.3 million approximately, okay? When you get all done, you still got a 40-year-old building with problems.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why did you buy the building in the first place?
I didn't buy it, ma'am.
But why did the town buy it?
I don't know.
Because honestly, the engineer report that was done for that building, it was a very expensive window washing type of thing. And I have plenty of people that have read it. So I don't know. But besides that, I think we should just try to push forward and try to make it an option for us. Because there really aren't a lot of other options out there for us.
I have stated publicly, the site is okay. The site is great, all right? The building is not that good. So if you're going to spend $4.3 million to renovate a building that's not suited, my suggestion was to tear it down and build a new building suited to our needs, space and for the court facilities and everything. So to do that, it would cost $5.1 million approximately. That's the $250,000 to tear it down, and then $5.1 to build a new one. Now, you're not talking a lot of difference here. What's that?
When was that done?
This was done August 5th of this year, of 2020.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but also it's going to cost a lot more to renovate it now. So
then why don't you raise it?
because I don't
raise
have any,
it-
I don't
no.
have any support for that. That's why. I'm only one vote.
Do the people of the town get to vote?
Unfortunately, not.
Yes, you will, actually.
Yeah, actually, you
That'll
will.
go permissive referendum.
Well, no, you don't. You don't have to have that. That's not
Paul?
required, right? You don't need a progressive referendum.
You own the building already.
Right.
Okay, well, then you wouldn't. We already own it.
That's my take on it. And
So
I've said
then
it
I
in
would
public.
agree, I would agree with you then. I would say raise the building and start over and put a new one up.
Unfortunately, like I said, ma'am, I'm only one vote.
All right, so can this go on some kind of an agenda where people get to vote on it? I mean, how many is this?
Basically, it becomes a political issue.
So it's
The
going to be
former
a
town-
political
the
ping pong
former
ball.
town supervisor, with the town board's approval, purchased the building, okay? I was not part of that. I'm just telling you my view now. I think it's crazy to spend 4.3 or more to renovate a building and still have a 40-year-old building.
I
That's not
agree.
suited for us.
I agree. So get it on an agenda and have the town people vote, right?
Well,
No?
you really don't, you can't do that.
Simple, yeah, unfortunately.
We can't vote for that?
No, unfortunately. Well, I mean, I'm sure that there is a way that we can go through a rigmarole of setting it up, but.
Was the time,
Yeah.
right. It went to a permissive referendum beforehand.
Because at the time, the reason why, nobody questioned the the purchase of this building is because the three engineers said it was okay for us to move in there. It was okay for us to renovate it. The 40-year-old building is a brick building and will go nowhere, okay? And the people saw the difference between that building and this building at that time.
Right.
This building, as you can see, is falling in on itself. You drop a marble back where that police officer is standing, and I'll bet you it's next to you in 2 seconds, okay? This place floods. We recently had a flood that came up to its back door, and another inch, it would have been where you're sitting. The other building did not have a drop.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. If the architects claimed it was a sound building, why don't you go after the architects that wrote it up, and then why don't you sue their asses?
They said it was...
Because it's still sound.
Yeah, but the
I
new
think the
people are
engineering-
saying it's not sound. Who's ever doing the thing?
I think the initial report from Casey Engineering was the building was structurally sound. It did not say...
Structurally sound.
It did not say it was applicable to the town use. It did not say that. It didn't even do a space needs study.
No, and the Casey Engineering report, Johnny, is the only report we have. We do not have 3 different engineer reports.
Oh, I thought you said you had 3 engineering.
So here we'll
reports.
sit.
No.
Okay. So in other words, come see, come saw.
Tracy Santiago, Salt Point. So pickleball. Heard a lot about this sport. Consider my interest peaked as someone who's really active in rec and looking for fun stuff. Although this new information with the batting cages would be amazing. I heard that. What they presented to you guys today, and it brought me back to a conversation I had with Carl Sprower, who used to run Little League many, many years ago, and he said he tried getting batting cages back then, and Carl is one of those people in our community who has got his ear to the street, and he knows what we need, and he was ignored back then. I think it would be an amazing opportunity if we have people who are looking to help fund this. Getting batting cages down at Katy would be amazing. Let's see. I almost shot myself in the foot, figuratively. Figuratively. Last time we were here, I didn't know what an ad hoc committee is. I still don't. Since you have shelved it until next time, I'm willing to wait on an answer for that. I felt like last time it was just a stupid question, but I wasn't the only person who didn't know.
So just so you all know what the ad hoc committee is for, we created a committee to kind of review the town's policies and procedures when it comes to large gatherings, parades, protests, that kind of thing.
Okay. Thank you. I have a question or comment or combo on the Camp Neutemi. I think it's really cool that the county's interested in it. I think we would be stupid to get in their way. I also would like to echo on what Phil said. If we're just going to put in a lowball BS offer, it's going to waste our money preparing that offer, having lawyers go over it to just be turned down. It's going to waste people's time. It's going to be annoying to the people who have to look at it on the other side. If we can't make a serious offer, I think it's a moot point. If we put in a bid, is the bid or the purchase subject to public referendum? It is. So even if they accepted a low ball offer, it's still subjected, which is probably unappealing to them, that we take minimum of 6 weeks to decide on anything because they need to financially relieve themselves of that property. I'd like to also comment on the new town hall. First, John Seimer, is he still here or he left? No. I just wanted to give that man a round of applause for all the good he does in our community, and I want to thank him personally and publicly. I do think it's super important that we get the food pantry situated. However, I'm not a brainiac or anything when it comes to this, but a certificate of occupancy. Yeah, I know, I hear you, but everybody got to speak for 5,000 hours. I just want to finish my sentence. A certificate of occupancy would never be given to someone moving into a residence or an apartment or even a renovated commercial space. I can't imagine that we would be able to get a certificate of occupancy to make it a safe environment, allowing them to do all their good over there. It just doesn't seem realistic. Thanks. Bye. Pickleball and baseball.
J. Meyer, Clark Heights. So 2.5 years ago, the town went through, they bought the building. This building here is supposed to be given $1 million for. So you go through, and it's an oxymoron. You're saying you can't do anything with a building that's 40 years old, but yet we have a library that's over 100 years old, and we're putting a renovation into that building. Simply the look at time frame. We have a grant, correct, that is still current to pay for most of the renovation for that building. I don't know the exact dollar amount. Just hold on one sec, please. I'm not trying to.
I was just going to say 867,000.
That's, so, you know, I went to Arlington, my math is kind of bad. So they're going to say it's roughly, say, $5 million to renovate that building. It was going to cost $6 million to knock the thing down and put a new building up. But gee, we have a library that's going through a renovation and not a problem, and they're updating it to today's codes. I know the newest town hall needs a roof by wintertime. So who knows what that's going to cost. The thing what you got to understand with this is, if you do not get a roof on that building, then the building's going to flood. So then all the building is going to start rotting, and you start having problems with the trusses and everything else in that building. Am I correct?
Correct.
So
I'm a printer.
I'm just saying, it's I've been up there. Sorry. The other thing is, we talk about community first in this town. Riddle Park has been vacant with that property for 40 years. Nothing has been done at all to that property. We have Camp Neutemi. We're talking about community first here. This is what the biggest thing is. And you know something? For people to come up here and attack any town board for not doing this or that, you know something? It's very hard to sit in those seats and to take the aggravation and grief that you people take. And I applaud you for it. I really do. Somebody makes a comment up here, yeah, you know, you take a 50-50 way. Camp Neutemi, it would be the best thing this town could ever do, because you know something? You wouldn't have the problem you have with Riddle Park. 40 years from now, they're going to say, you know something? We wish we'd bought Camp Neutemi to make it for the town residents in this town. You know something? If you got to pay a couple extra dollars, $20, $30 in your yearly taxes or whatever it is, I'm sure most people say, you know something? I am glad we've done that, because Riddle Park, we're embarrassed with for 40 some odd years of doing nothing with. We keep kicking this can down the road. Why? It's sad. I'm sorry. But it's sad to where we do this. This building here, yes, we know it's falling apart. But we keep going through. You know something? Here's 2.5 years later. You know, it's whatever town board was on there that bought the thing that sold it, it's not our problem. We got to move forward with this, because you keep spending money, or just, oh, we need our engineering study. It's $30,000 in engineering studies on that town hall. That's crazy. Let's move and do it, please. Thank you.
Dan Deegan, Pleasant Valley. So you guys stole my thunder a little bit, but I'm going to put him on the spot because I came here to talk about him. So Ed Hotaling, is that how I say your last name? So, you know, there's a lot of silent heroes in this town, and that's one of them. So, so I'm going to change the flavor of this meeting for a second here. So I was going to do this on Facebook, but Facebook sucks. I hate it with every part of my soul, so I'd rather do this in person, like old school stuff. So everybody knows about what happened with Katy Field. The girls weren't able to play because there's issues. Who fixes it? Ed. Ed shows up and fixes it. I was going to come, my kid's game got delayed, but it was done. He did it all by himself, right? Came, showed up, did it by himself. There's other people in this community that are like this, but I've been here for 14 years, and I've been watching you, I've seen you. I had the benefit of you coached my oldest son, you coached my middle son, you do stuff like this, you did the pitch thing at the Bicentennial Day. You're just one of those people that are always involved. I was just thinking about this the other day. Before you did Katy Field, I was thinking about you. That might freak you out a little bit. But guys like you, women like you are the glue that keeps the town together. Every town has people like you. We need more Eds. We need more Eds. We need more Ednas. If we don't, and when I happened to see you in your neighborhood that one day, I don't know if you remember it, but I said, if we as a society don't start figuring out how to talk to each other, we are not going to have a society and a country to argue over anymore. It starts in this room. It starts at Katy Field. It starts everywhere. We have got to start talking to each other. And this is not a political thing. This is a Katy Field thing. This is a kid thing. Our kids are getting hosed. Are the kids gone? Our kids are getting hosed. We all know it. Our parents and our elderly folks are getting hosed. So I don't care who wins any election. I could care less. It is time we start coming together as a community. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, and you give me inspiration to be a better person. So let's just start being more like Ed. Peace.
Oh. Anyone else care to comment on agenda items?
Be like Ed.
Be like Ed. I'm gonna make one for next
All right,
week.
Ed Hochailing, Vice President, Pleasant Valley Little League. I don't have much to say, but I just want to say, Dan, I forget about the name Ed. Just any name, that's awesome. We need people that work together, right? I'm a conservative. Dan is a Democrat. We had a great conversation. It lasted a while. What I wanted to say is this: as far as the tennis courts, there's 2 tennis courts, correct? Mm-hmm. Pickleball, batting cage. Yeah. It's really that simple, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that we have a proposal and then a counter proposal is kind of fucking stupid. I'm just being honest.
It was 2 done at the exact same time.
Fair enough, but I'm just saying there's 2 tennis courts. There's no reason there can't be a pickleball court and there can't be a batting cage. It's really that simple, right? I don't care what name tag you have on. That's it, man. I'm here for the kids of this community. I can tell you right now, me and everyone around me, the guy that's going to get the vote for us is the one that wants to do something for the youth of this community. Absolutely, 100%. There's things that I care about, and I'm telling you right now, it is the youth, rec, sports, and the youth of this community will absolutely get my vote. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I move to close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. At that point, I'll make a motion that we, before everyone leaves, we might adjourn.
Yeah.
Are we gonna?
You want to do an executive session?
Well, do you want to talk about KBTV?
Mic drop, you want to do?
Yeah, we should do it.
Make the motion then.
I make a motion, we go into executive session to talk about Camp Neutemi.
I'll second that.
Under what?
It's 105.1H, I believe.
Is that right? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, we're just gonna adjourn.
We're not coming back, though.
Got to get back on the meeting.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, motion to come out of executive session?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.